Well, hey guys, for a long time I've been meaning to make another video or some sort of like a podcast, some sort of electronic letter to my friends just to tell you what's been up. And I got to go back like 3 months ago when I went to Reno. I'm part of a volunteer group actually that runs a TV translator system for this valley where I live. And when I say TV translator, I mean like a relay kind of a system, because there's a big mountain between us and the main TV transmitters in Salt Lake for the major network affiliates, and basically all the TV stations that are based in Salt Lake all broadcast from one point, and there's this mountain in the way. So we relay the signal up to the top of the mountain that's in the way and then down to our transmitter here in the valley, and that's what they call the translator system. There are a lot of them in Utah because it's also mountainous, and there's only one set of major TV network affiliates in the entire state, and they're right in Salt Lake City. So we've got this network of, relay systems throughout the state. And so ours is our one little translator system up here, and we are part of a national group. So I went to the National Translator Association convention in Reno back in May, and so I went 3 years ago when it was in Albuquerque. 2 years ago it was in Denver. I didn't go. Last year it was in Park City, so that was easy to go, and then this time I went to Reno. And even though it's a volunteer position that I have as part of this group that runs the thing, they do have a budget for equipment and maintenance and going to like this convention. So they reimbursed me, but I have this aversion to, living the high life just because someone else is paying for it, right? I'm still looking for a reasonable bargain, but the thing took place at this resort casino called El Dorado, right there in Reno. So I stayed at the El Dorado resort, and then just kind of went downstairs to the convention center, when they did this thing. And it was all day Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. So I left Thursday night. I get in there, and I'd already had some seasonal allergies going on around here, and so, and then it had kind of evolved into a cold. And so, I can't change the date of when this translator thing happens. And I wasn't like, lying in bed sick kind of thing, but I was just not a lot of energy, not a lot of appetite. But I get there, and Thursday afternoon, and so I have the whole evening where there's, I can just do whatever I want in Reno. And, so what am I going to do? I'm not going to go gambling or whatever. So just a few blocks down from the El Dorado Resort casino, which was really just one building, kind of takes up the whole block, and resort. They got a pool on the 4th floor, a little kind of a courtyard, and then some other rooms up above that and stuff. So, but I didn't go to the pool. I went to this movie theater that was just a few blocks down the road. And so it was, the middle of May, so the Avengers movie, The Age of Ultron, had just come out. I stopped at a Subway sandwich place across the street from that, and I usually like a good submarine sandwich, and they had this new thing, and there was the poster up there. It said, try the new guacamole. And, oh, this would be great. Nice kind of southwestern style chicken thing with guacamole on it. It was so spicy, and I don't know if it was what element of the sandwich. I just kind of pointed to the picture and said, I'll take that one. So whatever they put on it, I don't think it was peppers. I think there must have been something really spicy in the guacamole that they slathered on there. And so my mouth is kind of burning, and I had this giant, Sprite. And then I thought, I'm going to have to like leave the movie in the middle to go to the restroom because I'm drinking so much Sprite. But actually, and also I had it in my mind, I wanted to just get a giant thing of popcorn, so I ate this giant sandwich, which was hot, drank a lot of Sprite. Somehow though, when I got to the movie theater, I still had enough appetite for popcorn, and I got the large thing of popcorn, and sat there and got through the whole movie without having to go out in the middle. So Age of Ultron, I think I liked it more than the previous Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie with all of them together. You know, it's hard to kind of say, well, not the individual movies, but the one where they're all together. I didn't really like that one that came out like 3 years ago. Yeah, my favorite among all these new superhero movies of the last several years now is Iron Man. My favorite character. Captain America, I did see, not in the theater, but you know, on Netflix DVD, I saw the one where the Winter Soldier, the newest Captain America standalone movie. I like that okay, although it's kind of gritty, you know, it's like a little bit intense. But so then Age of Ultron, I guess I liked it okay. I don't know, it just seems like an obligation to keep up with these things. Like, well, I've already seen all the other movies, so I better see this one now and so keep, you know, keep my myself, whatever, informed. But yeah, I think it gets to the point, and this was brought into focus for me a little bit. The next movie that came out that I did go see with my friend on his birthday was Ant-Man. And with Ant-Man, it occurs to me that, okay, now you got all these superheroes, and they can be, their superpower can either be like science fiction, they invented some device that gives them this super ability, or it's just kind of metaphysical, it's magic, if you will, that they can do something extraordinary. And so when it gets to the point where just whatever you could imagine suddenly becomes possible, and there aren't any like restrictions or rules to this universe, it's just whenever at the drop of a hat somebody can do this now. Gets a little hard to follow what's really going on with it's hard to invest in it, that suspension of disbelief as an audience member that you need when at the drop of a hat anyone can do anything. Like, okay. But as I said, I still liked it more than the previous Avengers movie that made all that money. Became like the #3 movie of all time until this year when my friend's dinosaur movie made enough money to surpass that. And so I was so close to overtaking Titanic, and I want some movie, any movie, even if it's Jurassic World, to make more money than Titanic, to dethrone James Cameron. Maybe this year it only needs like $20 million, and Jurassic World will have made more money than Titanic. I know with inflation it doesn't really mean more people saw the movie, but nevertheless, I just want James Cameron taken down a couple notches. So maybe Jurassic World and Star Wars will do that, because right now he's got the top 2 movies of all time for gross dollar, and that's Avatar and Titanic. Anyway, so that was Thursday night. Did okay. The next day was all day with you know, convention stuff, and basically the big concerns of the National Translator Association is that you know, things have changed since 50 years ago or whenever all these TV station channels were assigned you know, the different frequencies, and part of, you know, the major role of the FCC is to sort of organize the frequencies so that people aren't broadcasting over each other and it's just not total chaos in the airwaves, right? So when it comes to the translators, you know, we use a lot of different channels because we have to come in on one channel, the primary channel, then we have to retransmit on a different channel, and so then and if it's a kind of a network of these relays, then we're using up a lot of channel. But in a rural state like Utah, you know, there's plenty to go around. Well, and this happened years ago already. They've taken away some of the potential TV channels above like channel 69, or now it's above like channel 50 something, where that used to be a spectrum available for TV, and now it's taken away because they're giving it away to, you know, the new technologies with cell phones and some emergency services, and there's a lot more demand for the bandwidth and for these frequencies that, you know, these other people with a lot of money, a lot of big-time lobbyists, they want it. And so, you know, it's a fight for us because of the little translators like we are. We don't have lobbyists. We don't have, you know, we've got an association, but we don't have billions of dollars. And, you know, AT&T and Verizon, they do. And because they're charging you, and then they're using that money to buy up the frequencies so that you won't get free over-the-air TV as much as you did with just putting an antenna up on your house and shooting it somewhere. You're going to have to subscribe to satellite or cable, or maybe you'll get your TV on your Verizon phone. So they're going to take away the spectrum and then sell it back to you, you know, so you can watch TV on your phone, and that'll be just amazing. You're probably watching this on your phone right now, and so it's an amazing way to watch this incredible high-definition 24 frame per second video that I've got for you here. Anyway, so at the end of the Friday, that was Friday, the big full day of convention. At the end of the day, there was nothing to do. I didn't have a lot of energy, didn't have a great appetite, but I had to go eat something. And I probably could have gone to this nice restaurant right there in the hotel. But I just thought it's a waste of, you know, I don't have the appetite. So I just went to a McDonald's across the street. And Reno, I don't know, it's, there are homeless people stereotypically in the road ranting and saying ridiculous things and swearing at strangers, and you know, it's that stereotype. These people are nuts, and you know, nobody wants them in their home anyway. That's why they're homeless. That's the kind of people that were ranting around this one area downtown Reno. And so I went to this McDonald's, which is right across the street, you know, kitty corner from where the El Dorado. And I got to tell you, it was as you would, well, most McDonald's are really nice, but this was a dive. It was the diviest McDonald's you would ever, I made up a new word, diviest. It was awful. It was like, it was just kind of dingy inside. And the thing is, you know, there are usually, you know, pretty, they keep them nice. It had all the elements of a McDonald's, but they were just kind of, I don't know. And the food was, you know, tasted exactly, that's the thing about McDonald's, the food tastes exactly the same no matter which one you go to. But this was, I don't know. Part of what's wrong with McDonald's for me, though, is that I know, I can tell that the food hasn't changed, but I don't like it anymore. You know, I'm just getting older or something. But so I wonder, well, did the food really change and I didn't notice? I just, you know, it's like if I'm just really, really hungry and, you know, they've got a $1 menu and I get something, you know, and just a couple dollars and I'm gone and I can live. You know, it's like the worst insult when I tell my wife when she's like, you know, we try some new food, do you like it? And I was like, well, it will sustain life. You know, I don't often say that to her, but you know, not like when she's worked all day to make something and I'm like, oh, no, it's like if we just try something that, you know, came prepackaged and, you know, but so McDonald's food, it will sustain life. But anyway, we, as it turns out, we, that was Friday. Saturday was all day again with the convention stuff, and a lot of just repeat. A lot of people just scared because we don't really know what the FCC is going to do. Just that they're really anxious to auction off that spectrum to the highest bidder, which is also something that the FCC did not do. Auctioning off the spectrum before, like Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton cooked up some scheme that they said balanced the budget, and that was part of it. They're going to auction off the spectrum, which was considered public property, and it was just licensed, but they never like auctioned to the highest bidder. And now, of course, you've got your normal cell phone companies, and then you also have, you know, maybe Google, maybe Yahoo will start buying part of the spectrum, and then who knows what they're going to do with that. Facebook could get into, you know, broadcasting somehow. It's kind of a mess. So we as the translators, though, we're just kind of scared because we use different channels and we could lose them, and then what do we do because we don't have the money. Anyway, it's one thing I'm learning about politics. Anytime a lobbyist goes to see an elected official, they bring their checkbook, and that's just how it is. So anyway, Saturday we had more of this people worrying about what the FCC is going to do, because otherwise our system is really simple and it works the way it should. You know, without interference, we'd be fine. And it's not electronic interference this time. So then that evening, they do have a nice dinner on Saturday night when they have these conventions. And one of the things they did for just entertainment is they brought some teachers and students from the local science and technology and math and whatever the STEM program. Some of the people that have been working on like projects, a contest that NASA does for youth around the country, and so they came and they showed us this kind of moon rover that they made out of bicycle parts and stuff, and Mars rover, I guess maybe. So then, yeah, back home, and flying, you know, airline stuff. It's no fun at all. I mean, I should like it, but the flight out was booked anyway. I don't know if there's a lot of people that were going through Salt Lake City to get to Reno for this convention, or just why, you know, Reno was a great destination on a Thursday evening. So it was this packed plane, and they were offering people like, I don't know, finally got to like a couple $1,000 worth of Delta credit if you would give up your seat and take the flight the next day. And I just didn't want to get messed up doing that, and I didn't think I'd be flying around very much by myself anyway, so I didn't really need the Delta credit. So I get in this little jet on the way out, and it's what Canadair jet is, like 2 seats on each side and the aisle in the middle, and I guess it can seat like 70 or 80 people, but it just seems so small. And I always like to take the window seat, because I just like to look out the window, and I had my camera bag, which is supposed to be good for, you know, just the right size for carry-on, but you could also get a nice video camera in. And I didn't bring the video camera, just figured I'd use my iPod or something, but I was just cramped in there, you know. So the plane home was, I think it was an Airbus, you know, with like 3 seats and an aisle in the middle, and, you know, a jumbo jet, so it was more comfortable. But you know, just with the cold and just, you know, so I kind of left Reno thinking, you know, thanks, but no thanks. I did take a little walk around Sunday morning before they had a breakfast for us, and just kind of looked around some of the sights of Reno, and you know, I suppose it wasn't Reno at its best. I was just kind of catching it off guard, but you know, the homeless thing kind of, you know, we don't have a lot of homeless people around Huntsville. So you go down and they've got this nice kind of river walk thing that's supposed to be really nice, and then there's a guy just sleeping, you know, on there, you know, like passed out drunk kind of sleeping. And I just, yeah. So, I don't know, Reno. Now next year they're thinking about taking this NTA convention to up near Kalispell, Montana. I don't know how, if I can get up there on a commercial air flight, if I have to drive up there. So that's a long ways. So, I don't know. I'm sure it's beautiful, but you know, I don't go to these things every year anyway, so yeah, I just don't know. Anyway, other stuff I've done since then, I should give you more movie reviews. I did see Jurassic World. Bottom line, I think it was a good movie. I thought the ending was kind of not as exciting as I wanted, because it was just it was computer-generated creatures fighting each other, and a few humans kind of peppered in, going, "Oh," you know. And the first 2/3 of the movie was stuff that I'd seen it all in the trailers, and I could just kind of fill in the blanks with amphibian DNA, if you know what I mean. So for first 2/3 of the movie, kind of, okay, I know this. Yeah, this will be the scene where that happens. You know, I'm waiting for that clip from the preview to happen, and And so we finally get to the last third, or maybe even the last quarter of the movie, and it's like, oh, now it's stuff that I wasn't expecting. But then that ending was just kind of, wish they'd come up with something better. But anyway, I congratulate Chris Pratt. I worked with him on the show Everwood for 3 seasons. I didn't work on the last season, and he wasn't even like the top star of the show, but now he is. So congratulations to him, and everybody liked him on the Everwood crew, and so good for him. Good for him. Big movie star. Would I have kissed up to him more if I knew that? Maybe. I heard Chris on a podcast over a year ago talking about how he still comes to Utah to unwind and go do outdoorsy things with the props guy from Everwood. And turns out that I saw that same props guy at a funeral about a month ago, and I just said, hey, does Chris still come out and go hunting with you and stuff? He's like, yeah. Okay, cool, down to earth, Chris Pratt. So anyway, next movie I saw was Ant-Man, which was better than I expected. I liked it, but again, it just sort of brought home that idea that you can do anything in the Marvel universe, and so as a viewer, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I can't follow this, and where's the real investment as a viewer if at the drop of a hat they could just do some other thing that just, oh yeah, we have the superpower to do this. Oh, okay, yeah. So there's something about that in The Incredibles, right? Anyway, so then the last movie I've seen recently. I'm glad I saw all these movies, by the way. But those are the only ones I've seen this year. The last one being Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, which, all things considered, I probably liked the previous movie, The Ghost Protocol, more. But Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation was an okay thrill ride. But again, ending was a little kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say by the numbers, just kind of I really wanted that punch in the gut, and I got quite a significant, but it wasn't just, but I did have this moment near the end where I thought of, again, someone I've worked with before, Chris McQuarrie, and here I am, it's been years ago, but I'm thinking, good for you. I'm watching this big Hollywood blockbuster movie that he did, and I'm thinking, way to go. You're there. You did. You see, he wanted to be on that level back when I worked with him, and it hadn't worked out for. Well, the thing is, Chris McQuarrie wrote the screenplay for The Usual Suspects, and so he won an Oscar for that. And then he thought, I got the Oscar, I can do whatever I want. And so he wanted to do a movie about Alexander the Great, I think. And suddenly, there were like 2 other studios that wanted to do it, and all this clout he thought he would have gotten from winning an Oscar, he didn't really have. Studios they wanted him to do a certain thing, and they didn't want him to do whatever he wanted to do. So then he did this movie called The Way of the Gun, which was, again, kind of this gritty heist movie sort of thing, and he did that in Utah, and so that's when I got to work with him for, well, I was going to be the stand-in for James Caan, but James Caan turns out to be about here, and I was here. So I worked for a day on that, and then they decided, yeah, let's get someone else, and I'm like, and I was fine with it, but then I went back a few weeks later. They had a scene where there was this shootout at the end of the movie, and they had a guy who was a stuntman, and he fires off a few rounds and then he gets killed and face down on the ground. And so they hired me to be his double for the other day that they needed someone just lying on the ground, because I was cheaper. So that's what that's my brag about. I worked with Chris McQuarrie, but I knew that he wanted to do these bigger things, and the studio wanted to just have him do what they wanted him to do, thinking that he maybe wasn't capable of it. And I know he's had quite a journey to now being, you know, friends with Tom Cruise and directing some, you know, big blockbusters. So that's the moment when I'm sitting there thinking, way to go, Chris McQuarrie. All right, well, anyway, suddenly I've compressed my whole summer into just a few minutes. There's more to tell. I'll try to do something like this more often. All right, and so what we do here now is we go up in here and we close the lens cap.